Welcome to this talk on how to format your thesis in Word. Sorry it's taken so long to upload the recordings of the lecture that I gave a few weeks ago weren't saved, so I'm re-recording it at a later point. So apologies for that. There will be lots of links in this talk. Well, I'm going to use lots of different resources from different websites, and you can find the links to those resources in the description of this video. And also the top comment or the pinned comment will have the timestamps of different sections of this video. So if you'd like to jump to a certain section that you need to know about, or you'd like to skip a certain section, you can just click on the timestamps in that comment and you'll move about. But with that introduction out the way, let's get on to the talk. And so here we can see we've got Word. This is the default settings in Word. And at the top, we've got this style pane. So it looks a little like this. So we've got lots of different styles. We've got normal, we've got title, emphasis, headings, and so forth. And these styles not only help format your work, but also tell Word what the block of text is, which is going to be really useful for cross-referencing and organizing your chapters. Okay, so let's just start writing. So I've got some placeholder text here, and I'm going to format this in the normal format. So as you can see, Word just instantly formats all that text, and yeah, so now we've got this sort of normal or this body, right? So let's add a heading, and so I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to click heading 1 over here, and then it becomes a heading, right? And so if I start a new page and then want to add a title, call it title, right, we can select the title, right? And so we've got a nice title, we've got a heading and some placeholder text. So one of the first things I wanted to show you is how to change these styles, which you can do by selecting like bodies and then updating the styling pane. So here, let's say we wanted to add tabs to these paragraphs, right? So here I'm going to add an indentation. I could have used the ruler at the top here, but by just pressing tab, you add an indent. And then I'm going to select it, right click on normal, and then click update normal to match selection. Right, and so instantly Word will update every normal or instance of the normal text to match that formatting. So basically you just need to format essentially one word, and then everything that has that normal styling or whatever styling will be updated as well. So suppose I wanted to make this red, I would update, and then now any future headings will then also be in red as well. So here, if I click heading 1, and then we've got this nice red text. But this doesn't look particularly nice, and we can do a lot better than the default settings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make Word look a lot like LaTeX. Now, I really like the formatting in LaTeX. It looks very professional. The spacing is immaculate. It's able to create really nice tables as well as equations, but it comes at a cost because it is quite difficult to use. So instead of learning how to use LaTeX, we're just going to make Word look a lot like LaTeX. Okay, so I'm on this website and on this GitHub page where you can install a template for Word, well, a LaTeX template, which is here. So the README is very clear about what you need to do and what you need to install. So the first thing, it says download and install the computer modern fonts at this page here. So we're going to navigate to this page, and here we can select download. Got to wait 5 seconds. Right, and now that we've downloaded them, we can sort of unzip the file. Here are my downloads. And then we've got all these different new fonts. So this .ttf file is a font file, and we need to install these fonts so that we can use the same font that LaTeX uses when it formats text. So on a Windows, I'll talk about Windows first. It's really easy to install. You just select all of them, you right click, and then one of these options is install, and then that will be that. On a Mac, it's a little more cumbersome, but not so much so. So you're just going to select them all, you're going to open them, and then they'll all open up like this. And then you're just going to have to click install font, install font, install font, install font on every single one of these windows. And there you go. Here we've got these fonts installed. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, you will have to restart your computer to get access to these fonts. Otherwise, I mean, I've already installed them, so I don't need to restart. But yeah, so now now Word has access to this, PowerPoint, and anything that looks at your fonts that you've stored can now use these fonts. So we've got this really nice LaTeX font. Okay, so now that we've got those fonts installed, we can download this template. So it says either open it by writing or applying the template to an existing document. Both should work fine. So we're going to download this. Let's just click on it, click download over here. Now we've downloaded it. And so we've got this .docx file, which is a template file in Word. So if you just click on it, a new document should open up with this template. There is another way you could do this. You could go, if you're like really professional, you could click save as template, and then every time you click new from template over here, you'll get the ability to load up the template. So I've already saved it. I've called it LaTeX. You can choose a custom name. But so now I can choose to open this file rather than having to click on the template, but both is fine. Okay, so we've got our really nice looking document. So we've got a title, a name, and a date. Let's give this a title. We'll get rid of these. Some date. And then we've got these like some abstract. So let's add some placeholder text. And again, if we select the normal function, right, it's going to add this normal text. And then again, if you wanted a greater indent, which I have in mine, you then select it and then update to match selection, right? And then you've got this really nice way of formatting your writing. Okay, so we've got a contents page. We'll ignore that for now. And then we've got these titles, right? So here we've got heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3. I think the default is pretty good. So you could just click, heading, and then you could say heading 4 and so forth. And then it will automatically update this numbering. The problem with this is that it is based on a heading format and not a chapter format, which is one of the styles that you are given in Word, right? One of these will be chapter somewhere. No, it's in here. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to update this this heading to match chapter formatting, right? And this will be great because it will tell Word that it's a new chapter and all the formatting will come with that. So let's do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this and that, and then we're going to start a new numbering system. Okay, so here we've got a numbering system that I've made. This is what it's going to look like. But the default that you should have in Word is this chapter heading and then heading 2. Right. So now I've got chapter 1, and we could add a introduction. Now this is fine, and we can go chapter 2 and so forth, but it's not really adding extra headings at this point. You still have to click heading 1, and everything's going to get really confused. So what we're going to do is we're going to define a new multi-level list, right? So this is going to be a custom multi-level list based on this chapter formatting. So we can have chapter 1, and then we're going to have headings 1.1 and then 1.1.1 and so forth. So currently we don't have anything in level 2. And to add numbers or to add a list to this level, we are first going to select the number style for this level, which we're going to say is numbering. And then, so this is our current level, but we want to add a reference to the above level, so to level 1. So here we can select include level number from level 1. Okay, so now it's 1 point, no, it's 1, 1. Now adding a dot and a point, and then we'll add 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, which is the same as a tab. And yeah, so now we've got this really nice like second level. Okay, so let's add a third level. So what we're going to do is we're going to select a numbering for this list. So we want numbering and not letters or anything like that. And then we're going to include from level 1. So we've got 1.1, but we also want to include from level 2. So now we've got 1.1.1. Right. So this first one references the chapter. This second one references the second level, and then the third one is the current one that we're working on. So again, we're going to add a dot afterwards, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and so we've got this nice tabbing, and then we're going to click OK. Cool. So now we've got this multi-level list, and so we're going to, I think we're going to have to select it. Here we go. So this is the one we just created. If you would like to save this, you can right-click on it and click Save into List Library, which is what I've done here. As you see, this is the second time I'm doing this talk, so I've got 2 of them, but now you'll have it saved. Okay, so we'll select, yeah, so we're going to select this, and then if you want to add a subheading, you would just click Tab, right? And so we've got 1.1.1. So this is, subheading, and so forth. And so we could go even further, right? So lit review. And then if we wanted to add a sort of second layer, we could say specific topic and so forth, right? And then if I wanted to go out, I can press Shift and Tab, and I'm going up a level. Now this tabbing is fine, but we can automate this a little bit better by updating our styling sheets. So let's make this look a bit nicer. Now our heading 1, let's have a look. Our heading 1 looks something like this. So it's 14 and it's bold, and we're going to change our chapters to be as such. So we want 14 and bold. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to add a bit of line spacing, which you can do here. So let's add 2. So it looks a bit like that. So it looks like a proper chapter. I'm actually going to make this a touch bigger because I like it a little bigger because it is the start of a chapter. Let's go for you as well. Let's go for 16. I think that's a good size. And you can play around with this or download the one that I'm using in my current thesis. But once you've done that, you're going to update heading 1. And so now every time that you want to start a new chapter, you can just click heading 1. So if I click on heading 1, or sorry, down here, heading 1, it looks at the above chapter. I don't know why it's gone to 3. We can just restart the numbering. And it will know it. So this could be lit review, right? And so now we've got this with this really great way of like instantly adding new chapters without having to worry too much about different, like how to format this, right? And so every chapter will have this formatting with the spacing, and it's easily like a new chapter is easily made by clicking on the heading 1. So we can do this for each of the following subheadings, right? So our default subheading, looks a bit like this. So it's 12 and bold. So let's do that. So we've got 1, 2, and then bold. So now we're going to select heading 2, update to match selection. And now every one of these will have this, right? I don't know why this isn't updated, but so if I click on heading 2, I can now add, subheading 2. All right, and then we're going to add some text. Let's add a little less text. Cool, and so again, we're going to click normal, and all the formatting gets defined. All right, let's add a little more text to this one as well. And yeah, so I mean, this is kind of how you start to really format your thesis and make it look really nice. Yeah, sometimes you have to double click it. I'm not exactly sure why. I think one click updates the sort of positioning, and the other updates the font that you use. Anyway, the last thing that we need to do is add layer 3, because we created 3 layers in our multi-level list. And so let's add a heading 2. We're going to click tab to enter heading 3, and then we're going to give it some name. So specific introduction. And then we're going to right click, update to match selection, and now we have something that we can work with, right? So here, let's copy and paste this. So we've got a specific introduction 1. Let's go for number 2. And as you can see, everything is starting to look really nice, and it's becoming really easy to maintain. So here we've got subheading 2. We don't need this anymore. And right, as soon as we enter chapter 2, everything else gets updated. So we've got add a heading, introduction, and then again, everything is nicely updated. Right, as you can see, it becomes just really easy to maintain. And you can add all sorts of different text that suits your thesis, right? So here we've got a title. This TOC is table of content heading. So if you would like to update the table of content, I don't really like this title too much. I think it's kind of bland. So we could add the default, but add some sizing to it. And as I've shown you, you can play around with this. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is how to draw figures and how to use vector graphics to draw something. So let's just add some space. And the way I do figures is I do them in PowerPoint, because I think PowerPoint has this really nice snapping feature that lets you create some really nice and quite detailed drawings, right? So, I mean, I'm sure you've all used PowerPoint before, but you can get these really quick, nicely like aligned drawings, and it just doesn't take a lot to learn. And yeah, I think it works really well. But this is my Blue Peter moment where I say, here is something I created earlier. Now, as you can see, I still have that CMU serif font that I downloaded earlier. Remember that as soon as you've downloaded it, every program on your computer has access to it. So as you can see here, I've got this, the font, the same font that we've used. Now, I see a lot of people do this. So they take a screenshot of their, figure, and then they just add it to their thesis. Now, this is okay. I think this is, it's acceptable. I could have done a better job at screenshotting it. I've just added the grid lines, by the way. This is another really good feature. If you're adding figures or doing anything really, I recommend adding the grid and then removing it later, just to make sure that everything is nicely in line with each other. But as you can see, this picture has two downsides to it. One, the quality isn't particularly good. Like I said, I could have done a better job at screenshotting it. But two, if I want to make changes to this, I will then have to go back to my original Word document, my original PowerPoint, and then make the changes. So say this wasn't initial version, but just initial. And I would have to, to retake a photo of it. Now, that's not very good. So what we're going to do is, instead of the picture, we are going to select everything that we've just done or made. And then under, I believe it's arrange. Yes, under arrange, you're going to select group. And so now what PowerPoint or any kind of Word Microsoft Office software is going to do is treat this as one big group. So you can actually make changes to the size, and it will make changes to all of the sizes, right? Which is really useful if you want to make some small changes. So let's just go back to our original size over here. And so now, once we've got this as a group, we're going to copy it. We can do it the slow way by right-clicking and press copying. You can also, if you'd like to, save this as a support vector graphic. So that will save the instructions on how to draw them. So a lot of journals really like this because it just makes the image like super high quality. But so we're just going to, for now, we're just going to copy this, and then we're going to put this in our thesis. And so, what just happened? Excuse me. Right. I need to select the group. What happened there is I had one of them selected. So you can actually make changes to one of them, but what we wanted is the group. So we wanted everything. Sorry about that. And then, yeah, we're going to paste that in. So now what we have is this image that we can change the size of, and it will change the whole, like, everything about the image. But then we can also change we can change different parts of it, right? So here I'm editing this inwards by selecting the group once, and then if you click on one particular aspect, you can then make changes to that. So, doings or whatever. So here we've got our thesis, our figure, and also it has this really nice, like, consistent use of graphics. Like, so I can zoom in really far, and it will still have that that quality, no matter like what the zooming is. Let me get rid of the grid lines. No matter what the zooming is or how big or small I make it, it will still remain in this quality. Great, so we've got a way to make really high quality images or figures. And now let's say we wanted to caption this figure. So we're going to click on the figure, and then we're going to, under references, we're going to click Insert Caption. Now this is great because it will allow you to cross-reference the figure in the body of your text. So we're going to click Insert Caption. So one of the good things about adding chapters, before I talk about this, is the reason why we did this chaptering is so that it would automatically reference the chapter that it is in. All right, and we couldn't have done that with the regular headings that we had at the start. So that's why I bothered with the multi-level lists and the chapters. I know that probably seemed like quite cumbersome at the time, and you think, why am I bothering? But this is, this is why. So if it's not automatically picking up what chapter you're currently in, you can change that. I think it's in format. Yes, in format, it says include chapter number, right? And then chapter starts with this style that we've defined, and then you can define a separator as well. But it's because we had the chapter formatting that it was able to pick up this too. So we're going to say, some figure, and then click OK. And so we get this nice caption below. So what I like to do is I like to make the text of the caption a different color, or a different heading, excuse me. So I'm going to make this heading 4. And so it kind of stands out a little bit that this is something to be clicked on or something of importance. So suppose I wanted to reference this figure. Now, you could do something like see figure 4, and then that would be okay. But sorry, it's figure 2.1, not 4. But with this cross-referencing, we can actually allow people to click on the figure 4, this figure 2.1 text, and have them automatically linked to the figure. So let's do that. You'll see what I mean if that didn't make any sense. So we've got references, and then we're going to click on cross-reference. So cross-reference allows you to refer to different parts of the thesis or the document, right? So here you can reference pretty much everything. So here are the numbered items, so you could refer to a different chapter. You could refer to headings, bookmarks, different equations, different tables, but we want to refer to the figure, right? And because we've told Word that this is a figure by using the insert caption feature, we can then insert this caption. So we don't want the entire caption because that will include the whole text, so it will say figure 2.1 some figure. We just want the label and number. Alternatively, you could say like above or below, so C below, and then it would also do the number, the cross-referencing. But we're going to select Insert as Link and then click OK. And so what it's done is it's seen that this figure is in this place and has this formatting, and it's matched that formatting. But now you can click on that text and then it will link you to that figure, right? And it doesn't matter where that text is or where the figure is, it will always find that figure, which is like really useful, especially when your thesis becomes like really long and it's like difficult to manage like where things are, when you're referring to something that you wrote a few chapters ago, or even to a certain body of text in a particular chapter, right? See figure 2.1. So let's just do that just for clarity. I can show you. So let's say we wanted to refer to some specific thing in the introduction that we wrote about earlier. So here I'm going to say C, and then we're going to do cross-reference again. We're going to select a numbered item, and we're going to see specific introduction. Okay, so here we get given the option of a page number, paragraph text. So that's the full text. We don't want that. We want, let's see if we can do a heading actually. We want just the heading number. Yeah, let's do heading number. So we've got specific introduction. So we've got insert. So C 1.1.1, right? And then you can go over here and then it will link automatically to 1.1.1. And this makes it so easy to read, and I'm sure you and your supervisors will be able to refer to things in the body of the text a lot better. Okay, so we've got figures, we've done the cross-referencing. Let's go on to table of contents and figures. So there was a default table of content. I'm just going to remove that. I know that was there before, and we're just going to recreate that, which seems a bit pointless, but I just wanted to show you how to do that from scratch rather than using the default. So inserting a table of contents is the easiest thing in the world. So, excuse me, that's my cat. So we've got table of content over here, and we're just going to click on it. We're going to select the kind of style that we want. I like either the simple or the classic, and so that's it. There's your table of content, and all of these are cross-referenced, right? Because we did the headings in the styling page. Word is able to identify, what are headings, what are titles, and so forth. And so you can now click on a specific one. So say we wanted to go to number 2, we go to number 2, which becomes super useful when your thesis is a few hundred pages long, and rather than scrolling all the way down, you can just go to the bottom, and you've got you're then linked to that section. So table of figures is the same. So let's go down. For some reason, I'm not exactly sure why, but it doesn't automatically give you a table of figures title, so you're going to have to write that in yourself. So we've got table of figures. Let's move that over to the left one. So I'm going to add the grid lines like I showed you before. This helps me kind of format things and make sure everything's in the right line. And then in references, you've got insert table of figures, and you click on that. So you can say a table of equations, table of tables, or table of figures. We don't have any equations or tables, so it would be blank, but we click OK. And there we go. There's our table of figures again with the referencing. So you can just click on it and it will link you down. By the way, this captioning works for equations. It works for tables also. So that's it. I mean, that's kind of the bare bones of everything. I wanted to quickly show you Zotero, a reference manager. We kind of talked about this a little bit during the talk. Some people use Mendeley, some people use Zotero. I really like Zotero. It's sort of open source, it's free, and yeah, it's really great. So Zotero looks a little like this once you've installed it. You can, if you want to install it, you can go to zotero.org and install it here. I'm not going to go through that because I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. So Zotero looks like this. It kind of is just a file structure. So here are all your files, and you can sort of click on, whatever you want. So here we've got this paper here, and it's open. It opens up this reader, and you can make notes about this paper. Alternatively, you can add your own notes here, and I do this sometimes. So here gives me some thoughts, so here I've just noted what claims they're making, and it's super useful, like when you're like reading lots and lots of papers and you're not sure what, as you can see here, this is just one section of thousands, right? So if I look at my library, it's just too many papers. And so having these notes really expedites your writing, because then you can just refer to specific papers. Anyway, that's enough about Zotero. What I wanted to talk about is the browser plugin as well as the Word plugin, right? So here I'm going to go on my browser. So I'm using Firefox. I go to Google Scholar and I look up someone. So this is my supervisor. So you can either click on a paper, and if you install the browser extension, which I won't go in through here because I think it's quite easy to install, you can click Save to Zotero, and okay, it wasn't able to get the full text, which is great because I'm actually not at home. So I'm sorry, I'm not at uni. I'm doing this at home, so I'd have to do the login stuff that Loughborough makes you do. But yeah, let's see if there's I think this one is open. Yes, this one's open. So I could just download this one. Right, he says. Yes, so here we go. I've downloaded Developing Math Fluency. And as you can see here I've now installed it, right? You can select where you want to install it. So I've installed it to this place. I mean, I've already read this paper, but it's in a different, I think it's in maths education. So now, as you can see here, it's now in maths education. And as you can see, I've already read it as well. But so now we've got this paper. You can also, what's quite good, is select lots of papers. So here, if you go if you click on the Save to Zotero now, when you're on Google, a selector will come up, and then we can select, a bunch of papers, and then click OK, and then it will download them. Yeah, so let's do that. So it's going to try and get these papers. Some of them it might get, some of them it won't get. Like I said, it's because I'm not at uni, and I'd have to sign in and do the two-step verification. If these are open access, then I'll be able to get them. And as you can see, Zotero is downloading them now. So we've got exploiting unexpected situations, right? And if I look for that, let's see, exploiting, it should be here. Yeah, exploiting, oh, damn it, it was just there. Exploiting unexpected situations in the math classroom, right? And then you can click on it, and here you can read it, make notes and whatever. Okay, so we've got all the papers that we want, and we would like to to reference them in the body of our text. So just before we do that, as you can see here, there's info about each of the papers. Now, Zotero does a pretty good job of getting the metadata, but sometimes it won't do, it won't be perfect. So for example, this is a report right, our magazine article, and sometimes you're going to have to update these, right? I think these ones are okay. I can't actually find a bad one. So here, there's the volume is missing, the edition, the place is missing, and then you can just add that in. So here, say it was in London. I don't know if it was, but you'd have to look that up. But I think it does a pretty good job of the metadata. I guess my point is that you can always then add this later. So here, if I wanted the DOI, I would have to add this in manually over here. And it's really, really important that you maintain this as you go, so that your references are correct as you go. Anyway, going over to our document, suppose we wanted to reference someone. So we're going to, you're going to have to install the Zotero plugin for Word. Again, super easy, not very difficult to do. And then restart Word. But once you've got that all working, you can click over on the Zotero tab at the top. And then you click Add Edit Citation. We are then showing this. We select a styling, so I'm going to use APA. And then we are given this bar at the bottom. So here we can add some citations, right? So we've got Collins, let's do, someone, and then we click OK, and there it is, it's added. So now all the metadata is saved, and we can then cite this in we've now cited it, and we just need to add a reference in. So let's just do one more citation just for completeness. So here I'm going to select the part that I want to cite. I'm going to click Add and Edit. Let's just add someone, and then we've got a bunch of papers. Okay, so let's add a chapter, which is, did that move? No. Let's add a chapter, which is our references. So we're going to click chapter. I'm going to press Shift and Enter, click references. And then we'll click enter. And so now I'm going to go over to Zotero. I'm going to click add edit bibliography, wait a couple of seconds, and there we go. It's as simple as that. The formatting is in APA, well, in the styling that I asked for. All the metadata is correct, right? Assuming that the metadata in Zotero is correct, that it's pulling from, and that's it. Like it's as easy as that. Okay, so we've got the references sorted. We've got we've covered how to create figures, right, using the grouping, and we've got cross-referencing, where we can click on different parts in the text. We've got our table of contents, and our really nicely formatted styling pane. You can then save your styling pane again by going a save as template, and then next time you open it, you can just use this, right? Which is basically what I'm going to give you when I upload it to GitHub for you guys to download. Well, at least the template that I want to that I'm putting up for you. Sorry, that didn't make a whole lot of sense, but let's talk about sharing your thesis. Now, this is the last thing I'll talk about. It's something that I thought lots of people knew how to do, but apparently not. So we're going to click Save As, or Save wherever, and then we're going to save it to the OneDrive, right? So here we've got OneDrive. We'll just click on we'll just click on the main one or whatever, and then we're going to save it as thesis presentation. Not that I overwrote my previous one. Okay, so we click save. I click OK. One of the best things about this is that it automatically saves, but I guess you guys already knew this. And yeah, so now let's talk about sharing your thesis. So you go to Outlook. I'm going to have to do that two-step stuff. Right, I'm going to skip the video and then I'm signing into Outlook, and then, yeah, we'll see you there. I've signed into Outlook, and I would like to share my thesis with my supervisors. So I'm going to click new message, I'll say George is my supervisor. Add a subject, and this is the important thing. This is the reason why I'm showing you this. Is you're going to click attach, but you're not going to click browse this computer, but browse cloud locations. So here, go into files, right, and find the file that you want to share. So this is my thesis presentation. You click next, and then not attach as copy, share as OneDrive link. Okay, so now when George receives this, he can then make changes to the document, A, in real time, and B, without having to send you a new document with the changes, right? So when you've got about 10 different drafts and you've got lots of different files, this is a godsend, right? So you get notes and changes and edits happen on the document itself, which is absolutely pivotal. Like I said, I think a lot of you already know how to, like, that this is the way it should be done. I've seen a few people do copies and things like that, and it just I don't know. I just wanted to share with you the slightly easier way of doing it. Okay, so I think that about covers it. If you have any questions, you can find me in the office or reach out to me over email, and I'll try and get back to you. Like I said, all the resources are in the description, and yeah, I hope this has been helpful.